This industry interview was conducted on Brian Dryden. Mr. Dryden is an assistant athletic director at the University of Pembroke in North Carolina. The first question I asked him read, "Was there any advice you got along the way that you ignored that turned out to be crucial to your progression?" He said, "Within this industry, learning from those above you and finding your own path are one and the same. The advice given to me, I always treat it as quite." I love this answer because hearing that finding your place as well as staying in your lane are kind of the same thing is very interesting, because a lot of time when you start in careers like this and you're the underdog, it's hard to not just want to immediately be on top. So I really like this answer. The answer to this next question really surprised me because it was so different from the previous responses in my other interviews. I asked, "Are you satisfied with your field? Is there anything you would change?" His response was no. Speaking from S&C as well as personal training, there is a lack of diversity and a bad stigma that is pressed upon S&C coaches. They should be the loudest, work the longest, 60-hour work weeks, and travel on weekends, and most adaptable. In a nutshell, he actually wanted to see a change in his field and he is not satisfied, which was surprising because he's so established into his career. And in my other interviews, everybody was just very happy, very much passionate, and it was interesting to get this different opinion. The next question I asked him was, "What has been the most rewarding experience of your career?" His response was, "Seeing my athletes succeed and knowing I had a direct correlation with their success, whether mentally or physically, I aided them." I really like this answer because it shows that he cares about pouring into his mentees, and I found that to be a very sweet response. I also enjoyed the response to this next question. While it was similar to the responses for my previous interviews, I felt like it had a different personality to it that I really enjoyed. I asked, "Was there any point on your journey where you lost sight of your passion?" He responded, "Plenty. With any journey, you will often lose sight of the goal, but you have to have things present that will remind you of your goal and destination. For me, those are my athletes." I loved in the interview that for him, everything that really made him happy about his job went back to the athletes because it really shows his level of care. My next question was, "Could you see yourself happier in a different career field?" His response was yes, simply because of the hour requirement, more time for family. I think this is a response that everyone in our industry could personally agree with. When I asked him did he have a support team throughout his career that was essential to his development, he responded with his athletic training staff, which is completely understandable because they most likely were going through similar experiences. His sports related jobs over the years have been in strength and conditioning, and he has been a director of personal training for a sports facility. I asked him what was the hardest career choice he had to make. He responded, returning to strength and conditioning and submitting to the work schedule. I liked this interview because it felt the most relatable. Speaking with him felt like speaking with kind of a comrade or an associate, in the sense that it felt personal and real. The answers weren't necessarily very passionate, but they were honest. And I really liked this interview. And in comparison to my other interviews, I feel like I got a great variety of individuals, and I really enjoyed my industry interviews this semester.